Samurai 8, Chapter 14, Father's Secret. So this is a pretty monumental chapter. Pretty satisfying, too. I guess this is like the end of the introductory arc of the series, I guess. I mean, because after this, we know everything. More or less. Everything that the series is going to be about. And it certainly expanded it in a fantastic way. A lot of emotions in this one, too, but we'll get into that. So yeah, let's get into it. So it's picking up from the previous chapter where Hachymaru is talking to the quote-unquote seven samurai, you know, paying homage to the famous Japanese movie, The Seven Samurai, which is probably based on like a pre-existing story. I don't know, but it's still pretty prevalent in Japanese lore nonetheless, and we know that Kishimoto is a sucker for that stuff. So we're seeing that the oldest one, who seems to be the spokesman, which is probably going to be Hachymaru's main rival in this series, Ikkaku is his name, and I guess this is like the Sasuke of the series, I mean, right? I mean, we know Kishimoto is just like, there's so many parallels to Naruto so far, and even more so after this, all the developments in this chapter, that I guess he's going to have like a Sasuke in this story as well. So why not? It's pretty cool. And we're finally getting a full explanation on what these seven key samurai are, along with Hachymaru. And as we've all guessed, and which was highly insinuated up until this point, they were all created by Dr. Furuta in order to, I guess, or artificially open one of the boxes. So we thought it was going to be Pandora's box up until this point. I mean, that's the only box that was really talked about, but no! They're actually trying to open Mandela's box, which is crazy. This is awesome. And I totally forgot that there was like another box, or the possibility of another box. Because like I said, they were only talking about Pandora's box. But if we go back to the very first chapter, when we see Akala, we see on his right side is Pandora's box. And then on his left side is like a circle. And that's Mandela's box, which is pretty cool. I didn't even think that that would be a box. I thought it represented something else, maybe some other kind of absolute power. But no, there's two boxes I guess you need in order to control the world, or the universe. So this is pretty much like the Infinity Gauntlet, I guess. But we'll get into that when we start talking about Atta and Ususama's master plan. So when Dr. Furuta was creating these artificial key samurais, it looks like it's like both biological and technological, because we see it's like this this root thing. I mean, I don't think this is like a metaphor for their birth. I think this is, we're literally seeing how they were created. There's like this veiny root type thing, which looks similar to what the holders are made out of, I guess. And then they have like these eggs attached to them with embryos. And it looks like this was how it was supposed to be. But then something just happened, which it specifically says in English, an anomaly happened. Like one offshoot sprouted out, and that was Hachymaru. So that's why he's on life support from the very beginning. But also, Hachymaru just being born in this way takes away from the power of the seven, because he's like a part of them, and they need the little fraction of power that they have in order for them to be whole and have the ability to open Pandora's box. So this is also going back to what I was talking about earlier in my previous reviews, with the parallels that we have from Naruto to Samurai 8 here. Just one of them, of course, is the whole like Jinchuriki thing. Because they, you know, the master plan of Obito and Madara with getting the Ten Tails to reawaken and everything is that they needed Naruto because he had the Nine Tails in him. So this is why they need Hachymaru, because he has a fraction of the Seven's power, which is required to open Mandela's box. So this is why they're going to be going after him. This is their motivation to include him into their master plan. And it's cool. I'm not against it. It's awesome. But so let's get into the master plan. Because it like I said, it's reminding me of the Infinity Gauntlet. I mean, more so than ever. Because what Atta says their ultimate goal is eliminating every living thing in every galaxy of this universe, and they'll start anew. So of course that's not Thanos' original plan. He just wanted to snap out half of life in the universe. But I'm talking more so about Endgame Thanos, because that's what he says. He wants to shred it down to every last atom and then rebuild it anew. That's kind of what they're doing here. And I didn't think it was going to be like this. I knew that they obviously wanted to open the boxes for some reason. I thought it was just ultimately control of the universe, but no, they're just taking it one step further. And now they need both boxes in order to do that. So apparently, opening Pandora's box or just Mandela's box is not enough power in order to do what they want. So I guess that's like the equivalent of getting all of the Infinity Stones and then snapping, I suppose. But also, we're seeing that Akala, the original god of gods, the one above all, I suppose, if he still does exist, he was able to have both of these boxes. And maybe him using that power created the samurais? Maybe. We still don't have an origin, as far as I know, on exactly how the samurais came to be and why the locker balls are embedded into planets and whatnot, and why they're able to create samurais and stuff. But we know that it's linked to Akala, or the god of war, which I assume Akala is. We know when they say, like, oh, the god of war, your link with him has been weakened, and that's why you ultimately die as a samurai. So I have always assumed that they're all linked to Akala. So maybe him having both the power of Mandala's box and Pandora's box was able to create this somehow. But also, it seems like Akala's not around anymore, and these boxes are just up for grabs. So something happened, and maybe his eventual death led to the birth of the samurais. Maybe him, like, exploding or something sent fragments of him out into the universe, and then like little meteorites, they hit the planets or something, and then all of the samurais are essentially just fragments of his power. Like, they used bits of it in order to become the way that they are. Kind of like with the Osatsuki, you know, because when Kaguya came down, she mated with a regular human, and then that gave birth to ninjutsu and chakra and all that stuff. So if we're, drawing all the parallels like we are already, I don't think it's too far-fetched to believe that this is the origin of the whole samurai dynamic. I'm just taking a guess, of course. But we're also finding out something extra interesting, aside from all that other stuff, is that there's 3 other schools, besides the Ususama and the Vajrayaksa style that we know that Daruma is using, and the Ususama style, obviously the one that Ata is using. So there's 3 other ones. And I guess they're not as prevalent or as powerful, maybe, as these 2, but they're still going to be comparable to those, I suppose. And we can liken this to the different villages in Naruto, something like that. Or maybe it's like the Kekai Genkais, like the Uchihas, or something like that. Or maybe it's just representing like that, just that dynamic in general, just diversity, different styles. But it also gives good depth to this world and everything that's going to happen here. Because this is just further showing us that there's so much more that we have to discover in this story. But also, now that we know that the 7 samurai, the 7 keys, they are only going to be able to open Mandala's box. So there's still those other 7 special keys that are out there that are needed to open Pandora's box. So that's still one of the prevalent storylines. We're still going to have to come across 7 like ultra powerful or just special different samurais that I guess inherently have the keys capable of opening Pandora's box, which I ultimately assume this is going to come down to, like, one side is going to have Pandora's box, like maybe that's going to be what Hachymaru and Daruma's side get, and then I guess Ata and the Ususama, they're going to obtain Mandala's box, and then I guess it's going to come down to them fighting over it, and then one side is going to be able to collect the Infinity Gauntlet, and it's who can snap who first, So then after Ata leaves, he says, I have something for you to remember me by. You would do well to accept it. And then Daruma's like, to remember him? And then we don't really touch on it after that because we go into the death of Hachimaru's dad. I think this might be the whole moon crashing into the planet thing. Because we can't forget that was set up. I think that was like Chekhov's moon, a couple chapters back. Because I think it was a little odd that he would just say that, he burrowed into the moon, and then that to not come back would be a little odd. So maybe he set some kind of like explosive or some kind of propulsion device or something that's going to make the moon, I don't know, do something with the Earth, like collide into it, like what he was saying. So they're probably going to have to deal with that maybe in the next chapter or something. I could be wrong. And then we're coming to the final portion of this chapter where Hachymaru and his dad have their one final moment together, and An is included in this, so they're building their bond here, having a joint tragedy, even though An is only really known Hachimaru's dad for like, what, less than an hour, and she's known Hachymaru for like a couple hours maybe. Regardless, it's still very impactful. I mean, if you're just looking at it from a grand scale and everything. But this is just building their bond, like I said. So they're just gonna overcome all of the weird herky-jerky relationship building that they're gonna go through. I mean, we're still gonna have that, of course, but we're just fast-forwarding them to having a better bond here by experiencing this together, more or less. And then we're just seeing the origin of why Dr. Furuta took Hachymaru, because he felt bad for him, because he was like a mistake. You know, he didn't ask to be born. He didn't ask to be this anomaly, this offshoot of his original plan. And he was thinking about taking him out, but he was like, no, I can't. He's just so innocent. I have to save him. And we see that, you know, Dr. Furuta, he was lonely. He was wrapped up in experiments. He just wanted a son. He wanted a different life. So he took him, stole him, and took him back to the planet that they're currently on. And this is what I kind of assumed, but it's just nice to get some clarification on everything that actually happened here. Also, a little fun thing is that we could see him actually leaving that cube planet that we saw Atta originally on. So that's confirming that, like, he was at the very same place that Atta currently is. But before Dr. Furuta, like, officially kicks the bucket, he's like talking to Hachymaru. He's like, hey, can you just do me one last small favor? Just a small favor. You think you could stop Atta? I know he's like one of the most powerful people in existence right now, but like, could you just like take care of him for me and save the entire universe? That would be cool. Thanks. But then, unfortunately, you know, he did, and then he officially dies. And of course, this is going to be a pivotal growth moment for Hachymaru. It's going to allow him to let go from all of his prior commitments, everything that was keeping him to this place, because we know that he has to go out into the universe, the galaxy. He has to do all that stuff. So his dad dying here is just going to add to him in many ways. You know, unfortunately, it's at the cost of his own life, but it was for the betterment of everything. And it's also giving him further motivation to take down Atta and everything like that. But yeah, fantastic chapter, very emotional. Let me know what you thought about this one. A lot to talk about. So if you liked it, please give it a like. I also have the Patreon, gives you access to a weekly Q&A, and if you haven't already, please subscribe as well. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.